In this video lecture, we're going to discuss moderator scripts. In particular, we're going to talk about the multiple roles of a testing team. We're going to talk about what a moderator is and does. We're going to talk about the sequence for a test session. And we're also going to talk about what a moderator script should contain. Let's quickly review the roles that a usability testing team has. We have the moderator, the person who interacts with the participant. We have the data logger, the person who is responsible for taking notes, operating the video camera, etc. We have the observer. This person is often a representative from the owners of the product. We have somebody who acts as technical support. This person sets up at the beginning of the day, breaks down the end of the day, is responsible for making sure the technology works. We have somebody who could act as a help desk. So if the participant needs to call for support at some point, they can call out and this person can act as if they are a representative of the company. And then we can always have a gopher, someone who needs to go and run and get things, fix problems as they arise. All of these people are very useful toward a usability testing team, but the only two that are absolutely vital for running the test at one time are the moderator and data logger. We can do without the others, but it's nice to have them. Today, however, we're going to talk particularly about the moderator, what this moderator does, and why it's important. So let's talk about the moderator. The moderator is the face of the usability test. It is the person who interacts with that participant. So when that person is working with a participant, they're always in character. They're on stage. They never let it slip. So, for example, when Sean Penn was playing Spicoli in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, he was living at home and he decided that he wanted to really be in the role. So he started method acting. He made his parents at home call him Spicoli. He would not answer to Sean. It was Spicoli only. Now, I'm not suggesting you go quite that far, but the point being, when you are being a moderator, you've got to be in character, you are acting a part, and you need to keep it up. So what exactly do you need to keep up? What sort of what do you need to be like? The thing is, the moderator should be a people person. They need to project some sort of upbeat image. So we really can't have a sad sack. I mean, Eeyore's a nice guy and all, but he's just not the right person. We need somebody who is upbeat and happy. However, that moderator should also be pleasant but neutral. They need to be professional. Now, upbeat is good, pleasant is good, but don't be too friendly. You are not trying to score a date with somebody here. So if that's what a moderator is supposed to be like, what is this script that they are supposed to follow? Well, the answer is a moderator script is really a script. It's like the thing the actors use. There are words, motions, stage directions. It's what the moderator is going to do and say in a given sequence. Why do we do this? The reason is we want to provide every participant who comes in with an identical experience. If these different participants have different experiences, they will act differently during the test, and therefore you won't be able to compare their results. So by making sure that every participant receives the same treatment, then our results will be more believable. How do we lay out the script? Well, first, you start with the numbered sequence I'll provide. What I'm going to do is I'm going to provide you an idea of first do this, second do this, third do this. That's going to be your structure for the entire testing sequence. So as you run a live test, follow this sequence. And I'm going to give bulleted actions or bulleted comments below that will help you flesh out the numbered sequence with words and actions for the moderator. So you will be able to develop a script around these actions. So let's give some details about what goes into a script. First thing you're going to do, you're going to welcome the user. They show up, you welcome them, say, hey, how's it doing? Glad to see you. Break the ice. When you meet a stranger, it seems a little weird, but it's your job as a moderator to put them at ease. You may, for example, offer them a beverage. This is a very common thing in most cultures. It makes people feel welcome. It's also cheap and easy to do. Make just pleasant chit-chat. Oh, how was your drive in? Oh, yes, traffic. Oh, how's the weather? Oh, yes, how are you feeling today? Oh, great. These basic things, just niceties. They make people feel happy. Bring the person into the testing site. Now, sometimes you will actually go to somebody's office, or you will do remote testing and just, Microsoft Teams in and use screen capture software. That's fine. Absolutely cool. Not a problem. Point is, you still need to break the ice. You still need to make some chit-chat, establish a rapport, and if they are on site, bring them into the testing site. Don't just let them wander around by themselves. Usher them in. It's like bringing them into your home. And if you need to, you can give a pre-test screener. And when you're recruiting people, sometimes people will lie to try to get that, like, ooh, you're offering some money if I'm going to come and do this? Yeah, totally. What answer do I think they want? All right, here, yeah, I'll tell them that. And then when they come in, you may end up with, well, the wrong person. So it's usually a good idea to give a pre-test screener to make sure that the people you've brought in are actually the ones you need. Then, you're going to describe the study's purpose. Whatever you do, be honest. Don't deceive people. Tell them exactly what it is that you are studying. Emphasize, though, that you are interested in all the participants' reactions. You don't just want them to do something. You want them to talk. You want to find out, what are you thinking? How are you feeling? Anything that they have to do, their facial reactions are important. Also, emphasize that you, as the moderator, are completely open to feedback. You have no particular interest in this. Your job is just to run this session. Now, sometimes you may be testing something that your company developed, or you may be a developer of it yourself. Who knows? Point is, you've got to put on that poker face, and you've got to say, okay, cool, anything they say. If they say my baby's ugly, I don't care. Just keep a poker face and don't react. In addition, you want to stress that the test is of the product and not the participant. So when someone is faced with some sort of strange device or interface that they aren't sure what to do, and they get lost, remember, this is not testing them. It is testing the interface, the device, what have you. If they succeed, cool. If it doesn't work for them, cool. It is all good. Sometimes you're going to administer a pre-test questionnaire or an interview. For example, you may need to compare attitudes before and after the test. So what do you think of this product? Okay, cool. You run through a test. What do you think of this product? So maybe you can measure their attitude changes. Also, sometimes you need to know, what do the users already do with this? What's their experience? What do they know about it? Have you used this before? If so, how often? What is your expertise level? This could color the interpretation of the results. You're also then going to supply any forms that are necessary. So, for example, if you have a consent form, have them sign the consent form right now before the test gets going. When you do, give them a copy. Keep a copy for your records as well. That way you're covered, everybody knows what's going on, you've given full disclosure, etc. If you're going to video them, ask them particularly, is it okay to video them? Maybe in the consent form. If it isn't, you actually need to have separate video form. Also, getting that verbal confirmation that it is okay to video them is very important. It'll make them feel at ease. And finally, about forms, if you need an NDA, that is a non-disclosure agreement, explain why do you need one. If you don't need one, well, don't do it, because, well, they're really intrusive and they feel weird. But basically, the idea is, if you have to get an NDA and ask your participants, please don't disclose anything that you talked about today here in this testing session, then explain why that is. Another thing you need to then explain is the test room or equipment setup. So, in particular, you need to point out the recording or observation devices. If someone has camera pointed at them, they need to know that they are being recorded. If their voice is being recorded on a microphone, they need to know that they are being recorded. If you are doing a remote test and you are capturing someone's screen and taking video of what their mouse is doing, or perhaps you're using their computer's video camera and getting their facial expressions as they work through, that's important. If you don't tell them, it's really a bad invasion of privacy. Also, speaking about invasions, you want to explain what are the observers doing? Who is there watching? What are their jobs? Now, you don't necessarily need to go down and say, oh, this is our gopher, she goes for coffee. We aren't going that far. But basically, if someone is going to be watching, let the participant know that someone is going to be watching and why. Otherwise, you're going to have something like this, where someone is hovering, watching someone else, and it's just kind of creepy. It'll affect the results. Then you want to explain the test process itself. Tell the participant you're going to ask them to perform tasks using whatever product it may be. You got to keep it general right now. If you give too much detail, like I'm going to ask you to do A and B and C, they're going to start thinking, do I need to memorize this? No, just keep it general. I'm going to ask you to perform some kinds of tasks using whatever this thing may be. And then state, as you go along through it, you'll give them scenarios. As the test goes along, all right, here's what we're going to do. You finish that one, here's what you're going to do next. Also, when you're explaining the test process, tell the participant, where are you going to be? Are you going to leave the room? Are you going to stay in the room over in the corner? Are you going to sit over here? Are you going to sit next to them? What are you doing? Why are you doing it that way? And this is really pretty important. Tell the participant, how should they notify you when they think they are done? Sometimes a person will click, click, click. Let's say you're doing some sort of a interface on a computer. They go click, 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 and they just sit. And moderator's wondering, are they done, or are they just pausing, or should I jump in, or am I going to bust their train of thought? You want to make sure that they know how to tell you, okay, I think I'm done. Set some sort of signal so that they can clue you in what to do next. You're then going to describe this thing we call a think aloud protocol. We'll talk more about this, but basically, what a think aloud protocol is, as your participant works through whatever it is scenario you've given them, so please accomplish this task using this product, you want them to just say whatever comes to their mind. Explain why it's important. Again, we'll talk more about this, but the big deal is what's going on inside someone's head can only be gotten through their talking. You can't read their minds. You might also give some examples. So instead of saying, all right, I'm going to take my mouse and I'm going to go hover it over top of the drop-down menu, then I'm going to click. That doesn't really matter. What are they looking for instead? Like, all right, I'm going to look for how to access this. Where might it be? That sort of thing. We're talking about giving examples. Then you pause. This is before the test. Ask the participant, do they have any questions? Remind the participant of a couple of things that already are in the release form that they have signed. They can stop at any time they want to. And the test is of the product and not them. Reiterate these ideas. They're very important. You then want to thank the participant again and ask them if they're ready to start. So the question for you right now is, think for a moment, what do all these things have in common? Why are we doing these particular things right now and here? The answer is because you are not a puppet master. You don't have them on a string. You want to make your participants feel at ease and feel as if they are in control. So by asking them, do you have any questions? Remember, you can stop at any time you want to. The test is the product and not you. We really appreciate your being here. Are you ready to start? These things that you're doing, they give the participant a moment to collect their thoughts, chill, get ready, and like, okay, I can do this. Then you start testing. When you test, hand over some written scenario, or you can read it aloud. Now, if it's complex, it might be a good idea to hand over a written thing. If it's fairly simple, like, please find this thing and, go, I don't know. If I could talk about this, but point is, if it's complex, written is probably better. If it's fairly simple, just read it aloud and tell them to do it. In either case, you want the participant to restate, to parrot, if you would, their own words. What exactly are they supposed to do? If they understand it, then great. They go ahead and work on the project. If they don't understand it, see if you can guide them to where what they should do, but be careful. You don't want to guide them too closely. You want them to be able to figure out what to do. And that is, after all, the essence of the usability test. Each scenario that you go through, repeat this process of giving them a written scenario or reading it aloud, asking them to restate in their own words what they're supposed to do. While you're going through, the participant may ask questions, or may pause, or may make comments. Whatever you do, stay neutral. Do not push the participant. Once all the scenarios are done, then you can administer a post-test questionnaire or interview. This is not it is not mandatory, but it's a really good idea. I'm going to give you a couple of possibilities of questions you could ask. For example, how did you find using whatever this product is to complete the task? What do you think should have happened at blank point? What do you think of whatever the feature may be? I saw you did something. Can you tell me about that? Who do you know that would like this product? These and other questions are really helpful. You can elicit what people think, especially after they've been working with the product. You can get their ideas about the product through this post-test questionnaire or interview. You can also then take some formal post-test measures. There are two that we'll learn about this semester. We haven't got to them yet, but you're going to learn about the system usability scale and product reaction cards. Again, you will learn more about these as we go along, and they're very useful. At this point, you are done with the test session. You need to thank the participant for their time. Remember, they have come in, they have taken their time out of their day to help you. Be grateful, act like it, and then provide whatever incentive it is that you have promised. Now, I'm going to mention incentives. If someone bails halfway through, do you have to give them the incentive? The question is, or the answer is yes, you do. Remember, they have taken their time, they have come in, they have made a good faith effort, and they deserve to get whatever it is that they have been promised. So let's review what we've talked about so far. We've talked about the multiple roles of people on a test team. We've talked about what a moderator does and what a moderator should be like. We've talked about the sequence for a test session, that numbered list, and then what a moderator's script should contain, all the bulleted items under those numbers. That's the end of this video lecture. So by now you should have an idea of what a moderator's script is, why it works, and how to proceed.